Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight is the 23rd of July, 2014. I did that in European, not American format of date. And it is turn 2, episode 28 with Frodan, Gnimsh, and our special guest, Lothar. Today we'll be talking about three main things: two tournaments that happened this past weekend, as well as Naxxramas. All about it, whether it's the campaigns, the solo adventures, the meta, as well as some of the cool speculation. We'll talk to you all about it in the next couple of minutes. But first, I want to introduce the panel. Our host that joins me every single week and who manages to get his webcam to actually work, unlike me, is Gnimsh. What's up, man?
You nailed it. The opening, it was pretty good. And I feel good myself, so it's good to be here again.
Do you like that I have a legitimate mic now? I'm not using my webcam anymore.
Dude,
or can you not even hear the difference?
It's an actual mic. Yeah, I think it sounds better. It sounds better than before.
Man, I spent money on this thing, man. I should just go back to the webcam, save myself some time.
No, it's good. It's good. Now we only need to invest in a new camera, I guess.
Well, my camera's fine. I think it's my internet connection. I was just on Deck Wars casting, and my webcam worked fine. At least from what I heard, no one really gave me any complaints. Whatever. The show's not about me. It's about our guest. We should move on here to Lothar. Jacob, I don't know how to say your last name, so you're gonna have to help me here. But introduce yourself real quick for everyone who's watching.
Hi guys, I'm Jakub Szygulski, and you know me as Lothar. And yeah, you wouldn't pronounce it anytime soon. So
Can we say Szygulski?
I don't know. You can pronounce it like SH, something like that. But yeah, it doesn't matter really. I'm playing for Key Dynamics, the esports, and yeah, I'm a pro Hearthstone player, so I think that's everyone knows that. But yeah.
Well, he's an engaged man. He has a fiance. He's a passionate lover. He's a great guitarist and a Hearthstone pro. Fourth,
and also maybe you won't
be order in mind.
You might not be able to say it from the start, but he's actually working out.
No, I don't. But I have the
squeezes things from time to time. All right, well, Lothar, we're really excited to have you on the show because you have a lot of experience both in WoW, TCG, and in Hearthstone. So it's really cool to kind of pick your brain about some of the stuff with Naxxramas, which is going to be our first topic of the day. It's to talk about the big thing that everyone's been seeing, which is the release of the Arachnid Wing. That's really hard for me to say for some reason. I don't know why. So for people who are kind of listening to or watching and don't really know too much about what's going on, Naxxramas has come out the past 24 hours for the solo adventures and has released 6 cards with it, 4 neutral cards and 2 class-specific cards with the Rogue and the Druid. You have to do the class challenges in order to get it. But the way you do it is you first start off with 3 bosses. You kind of complete the challenge with whatever decks you want. And then you move on to class challenges. And finally, heroic mode, which has drawn everybody crazy with how to beat it in their own specific way. So my first question to both Gnimsh and Lothar is, what are your first impressions with Naxxramas? Is this worthy of the hype that it's been received for months now? Gnimsh, you go first.
Well, I think definitely. So I'm a big Naxxramas fan. I was raiding Naxxramas in World of Warcraft, and it was my first raid that I actually learned how to raid in it. So when they announced that this will be the adventure mode, I was super excited. And yesterday I was able to experience it for the first time. We talked about Naxxramas before. Some information was announced, but we didn't really have a grasp how the adventure mode will work, what will be the flow, and how the bosses will work. We speculated, there was a lot of data leaked, but we didn't know for sure. And yesterday I was able to log in and see the funny image of Kel'Thuzad, a chibi version, being confused about me invading Naxxramas again and going for those bosses. And I think for me personally, the experience was great. The normal mode is kind of easy. And also I was talking to my friends who are not playing a lot of Hearthstone, they are only playing on a casual level. They were able to complete the normal mode, which is super cool because they got the cards and they got the experience. Then the class challenges were pretty easy. Well, for me personally, I didn't spend much time on them. But the heroic modes were kind of interesting. I did one shot Anub, Rakan, and Firlina, But I did had a couple of tries in Mexena, and actually I did have to prepare my deck to win. So it didn't take much time, but still it was pretty satisfying, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I can't wait for the next week when they release the Plague Wing.
Lothar, what do you think about the Arachnid Wing for the first week here of next?
Yeah, I wanted to say that I like to divide the adventure mode into two different like exciting things, because I don't really care about the casual play of Nextramas, so I just keep my focus on the new cards. So I basically just rushed through the campaign, if you can say so, and the normal mode was, well, quite frankly, really easy. But the heroic mode, I didn't like touch it because I didn't have time. I'm still playing. I'm still working full time, so I had a hard time logging in yesterday. So I just saw a stream with heroic mode. It seemed kind of like tricky, but doable with like every deck. You just have to adapt to it. But I'm really excited about the new cards, and the first wing has like 5 playable cards in constructed right now. And
6.
well, okay, but I want to say that in constructed playable will be 5, because I think Maexna, or how to pronounce it, it's not a good fit right now. It may change, but I don't think
right off the bat.
Yeah.
You're labeling something as unplayable right off the bat.
I meant playable for the decks right now, but well, we'll have to see about Max. I think it's just her cost is too high to effect.
Well, we can let's save this conversation for just a little bit later, because we're going to talk about the cards and their usefulness. But I think a lot of people, something that's been on people's mind, the first thing is how or what did you use to exactly beat the solo adventures? Because everyone's sharing their ideas, and the hardest one, of course, is the heroic mode of Maexna, because for anyone who's listening again on the podcast, normally in the normal wings of the quarter, you have hero powers that cost 2 mana that makes sense, right? The first one is of Aruba. You just kind of summon a minion. Then Fairlinus does like arcane missiles based off how many cards your opponent has. And the third one is like a sap that chooses a random minion for 2 mana by Maexna. But the heroic mode of Maexna gets crazy because it's 0 mana and it saps 2 random minions from your side of the board every single turn. And so it is no opportunity to build board control. It's like you're milling every time. So normal decks are thrown out the window, and everyone feels like they have to do something really creative. And then people kind of figured out if you use like Alex Straza every turn, and then just the fact that you can abuse the AI's decision making and then let them fatigue themselves and burn them to death. That's one way to do it. But I kind of want to ask you guys how Lothar, you said you didn't do it yet, but how did you plan on doing it? Gnimsh, what did you use to beat the heroic Maexna? Because I want to see how creative you were able to get.
So in the beginning, I took a freeze mage because I was like one-shotting bosses. So I defeated Underbrecken with freeze mage. Then I switched to Zoo to fight against Ferlina, because she obviously deals damage when you have many cards, and in Zoo you're stuck with like 1 or 2 cards maximum. And then I switched back to freeze mage to defeat Maexna, and it was pretty weird because like all the minions I've played, she was returning to my hand. So Novice Engineer was pretty sick because I was drawing a lot of cards, but then like Doomsayer, when I was freezing the minions,
is useless.
The Doomsayer is pretty much useless. I figured out that actually the mirror image is pretty cool because I can play mirror image early. She returns the tokens to my hand. They're for 0. So then if I want to force something on board, I can play like Doomsayer and the tokens. So there are 3 minions. But when she returns, like when she uses the hero power and returns Doomsayer, I'm in a bad position. Also, like when I was playing with Freeze Mage, I was burning a lot of cards because I was having those novices return to my hand after they drew the card. So my hand was pretty much full on turn 5. And then I burned Alex Straza, and then I burned the Pyroblast. So I was like, okay, I have no way to win the game right now. So I switched to Hunter, because Maexna on heroic mode, she starts with 2 spiders. They want to haunted. How they're called? The haunted
creepers, I think.
Haunted creepers, I think.
Crawler.
Yeah.
Crawler. Or haunted creeper. I was right the first time.
So she starts with two of them, and well, when they die, they spawn the spectral spiders. So you have to deal with that. So I was playing Hunter with a lot of charge minions. So every turn I was just playing, and because Maxna starts with using the hero power every turn, like she's not that keen on trading. You can play the small charge minions like the charge Murloc to 1 or like 3/1 Wolf Rider. So I was playing those minions charging and dealing the damage, also having the traps to get rid of the board. And I was able to kill her on the second try, I think, because my hand was like pretty charge heavy, and I got those explosive traps when I needed them. So the second try with Hunter was done. Also, I want to give a shout out to Athene, who defeated Maxna with a healing deck, which was also pretty sick. Like he was playing Paladin with Voodoo Doctor and like Farseer. So every turn he was playing the healing minions and healing himself till the point when he was able to play Alexstrasza and actually like finish the game in two turns.
Yeah, you just humility anything that comes out, make it really low attack, and then every turn, like there's no spells that my Exna plays. They only can play minions, and so my Exna fills the board with all these one attack creatures. Only does 7 per turn maximum, and then you just out heal her, and then at that point you just control the dictator of the game. You can choose basically when to execute your opponent.
She
I
actually
think
has a
that's
spell.
the coolest one.
She has the
Oh wait, she has
destroy
that
minion
7
spell.
mana cards. Yeah.
No,
But
I
if
mean,
you never
I
have
think
minions, it doesn't matter.
I think it's 2 mana or something, and destroy a minion, or 2 or 4 mana poison.
Oh right, we're talking about two different things. She also has that one AOE that's like a worse Holy Nova. It's like 7 mana and it does 3 damage. So
I haven't seen that.
You know what I'm talking about, that one? Oh, maybe you didn't. It wasn't probably used on you, so that was my bad.
You guys just said it all.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, Lothar, but it seems like he covered everything. I used a really cool method where I used Warrior and armoring up, and then I just burned her with weapons, and then kept playing like Captain Greenskin, and eventually I had like a 9/1 weapon by the end of the game because I kept getting upgraded every single time. It was a really cool way to win.
That's cool. I actually didn't think about that, about using Greenskin, but my first thought about using the hero power of Maxna as a weakness was using healing cards, like apparently Athene did. Because you can actually fill the board and then just out heal yourself by 1. It's enough to be safe, on a safe position. If you're healing 1 more, then he's dealing damage, because that's mostly 7, right?
Yeah, for the most part. Like if you just control it, then it won't be able to do more damage. Basically I took the same concept as the priest and the paladin, but I thought of a cool way of attacking to the point where I tried to make a challenge of how high I could stack my weapon without dying. Because there are a couple turns where you have to take a little bit more damage, but it was really fun. So like, I think I tried it again. I got my weapon to like 13/1 by the time it was over, or 12/1. It was like stupid. I mean, I attacked to stack it. I attacked like a couple of spectral spiders and stuff. It was really hilarious. But I encourage you guys to definitely try it and look up some of the strategy guys. I know a lot of people post their own decks, but part of the fun thing is that this is essentially like a puzzle. A lot of people have different ways of solving it and doing their own cool stuff.
That's I'm actually like avoiding Reddit by 2 days because I don't want to spoil myself. But yeah, I apparently was spoiled by joining this podcast now, but it doesn't matter really.
What's super fun as well is that actually, like, okay, we finished the normal wing, the Arachnid wing, normal mode, heroic mode, but still, it's still in the game. So we can challenge ourselves with different stuff. Like we can try to defeat the bosses with basic cards or with a specific class. Like
that's true. That's true.
Strifecrow was actually reporting to me that, hey, I just defeated Ferlina with a handlock. And I'm like, dude, how did you do it? How did you do it? Like, I was unaware about her hero power because I didn't check it, and then I was playing versus her and I won. I was like, okay, that's Strifecrow for you.
That's Chuck Norris level of skill. That like Strifecrow beats Ferlina with handlock. All right. Well, that's really cool that all those kinds of exist, and you know, you guys can feel free to ask more questions when the Q&A comes of like specific ones. Maybe you have trouble with a new bar and you're trying to look for something. We can always go.
I'm really looking forward to the next wings because that we like so many
Yeah.
ideas about the puzzles, right? That's 5 wings
Mhm.
with 3 quests every time. So we
Yep.
will have 15 new, 12 new like challenges, and those heroics modes are like little different from the normal modes. So I'm really
Yeah,
looking forward
sure.
to the new things that they will come up, because as I was talking before, I'm not really into the campaign thing, but to see the puzzles itself is really fun.
Yeah, a lot of the people who play on mobile and stuff will really love that too. As soon as Android and iPhone gets figured out, they will love that single player content. Kids love that as well. I actually even saw a kid playing Hearthstone the other day while I was at the airport. It was really fun. And I talked to him a little bit while I was waiting for my plane coming back from IEM Shenzhen, which we'll talk about later on. So let's talk a little bit about some of the other stuff that came with Nax Ramus. It wasn't just cards and wings. A few other quality of life changes happened as well. For example, Death Rattles got reordered. Brawl no longer shows. Okay, so there used to be a little thing where whoever entered the brawl last was the person who ended up surviving. They changed that as well. It's been completely randomized until the final person's been revealed. There's
I
been more
didn't
voice
know about it.
animations.
And I
Wait,
didn't
what?
know about it too. But when I looked at some Brawl games, then I've like 4 games in a row, I did see the old Brawl, and it was post update, so it should have been different. But I did see the last common minion win the Brawl, so I was like, what is happening? Is it updated or not?
You were aware about
No,
it, Frodan? Like
they've changed.
I didn't know about it.
Yeah, that's I've casted so many of your games, Gnimsh, were out when there's like brawls in the past, from the very beginning of like fight nights and stuff, when you're using Control Warrior and you win every brawl, and that's how we know because you see your minion enter last, right? That
I
was the
was
whole
actually
point.
super
They
confused.
felt like
I, I
what you
f-
were confused about.
yeah, I think it happened at IM Shenzhen. We were casting one game, and it was you, me, and I think Masan. And then somebody casts Bro, and you and Masan are like, "Wow!" And I'm like, "Why? It hasn't finished yet." It's like, what is going on?
You really
These
didn't know about
casters
it?
create fake hype. How could they try to generate hype over something that didn't happen yet? Yeah, I get that a lot. I get that a lot.
More or less.
Well, now Brawl's been reworked for that. There's been more voice acting, interactions, more music tracks. Also, busy mode now ignores chat pop-ups, so RDU is praising somewhere around the world. And Eagle Horn Bow has also received a nerf or change. You can interpret it as a nerf because basically what happens is only friendly secrets now give it a charge. Before, if you attacked like into an ice barrier or mage, for example, you would also get a charge on the Eagle Horn Bow. Now it only affects friendly secrets. And again, people are speculating that this is groundwork for future cards that come out. So that way, Eagle Horn Bow or other cards like it don't become too broken.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
true.
so
I was actually thinking the same, because when they did introduce the mad scientist, I was like, oh, this will get mad in some like 2 updates or maybe 3. We'll have more secrets, and this will be a really cool card. I mean, about the mad scientist. So it makes sense that they will actually now change the Eagle Horn Bone and not later.
Yeah.
So it's also interesting that it kind of makes fair to like even the chances of a mirror matches, because when you played Hunter versus Hunter, the first guy that did have the Eagle Horn Bone usually wins, because you will just stack so hard from the secrets of your opponent, and you actually like you're playing counter spell to his secrets because you have the Eagle Horn Bone out. So he might like rethink what to play on his turn because you just got the weapon and he didn't.
so just to clarify for the viewers, not for myself, for the viewers.
Sure.
If I have you on my friend list and we play and you play a secret, is that a friendly secret because I have you on my friend list?
I don't think so.
Actually, you know what?
10-10 joke.
That was pretty clever. I think these changes are really nice. It just shows that Blizzard's paying attention to a lot of the small details. Even and you know that they love those small lore things as well. Like whenever you play Animal Companion, now Rexar will make a little line and kind of taunt his opponent. So I like that Hearthstone, all these little things are still being paid attention to, and it just shows that the attention of care. Granted, it took a long time, but hey, it's here. We all thought that maybe next is going to get delayed till August, realistically, but it came out. So Blizzard, bravo. And we want to make one final PSA before we move on to the meta talks, is that the first wing will be free, but from now on, every week that Naxxramas successfully comes out, you'll have to pay for it in gold or real life money, which is kind of gross. Just use it with gold. Play some arenas and play some of your quests, and you'll be able to pay for it. I think it's like 500 gold per wing. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the metagame, guys. And this is something that Lothar was really anxious to talk about, and I'll let you two do most of the talking here.
Wait.
So discussion.
Yeah, I was like hurrying.
Did we actually mention the busy thing? This is huge for the tournaments.
Yeah, I did. I said somewhere in the world RDU is celebrating.
Yeah, and you did make the joke about it, so I thought you knew it.
Oh, did you want to talk more about that thing?
No, it's good. I'm good. Okay.
I mean, we could spend more time talking about it. Do you want me to get angry, Gnimsh? I can get angry if you want.
No, it's fine. I'm super happy that they actually introduced it. Well, the thing about Blizzard is that in World of Warcraft, they were just introducing the changes on their own. Like, it's not like you have to pay for them. They are just improving stuff on the fly. And I think this is a really good improvement with the that when you set busy in the client, you are not getting the chat pop-outs. So I'm really happy that they introduced it, and it will be so easy for the tournaments in the future. Like, even this Friday, we play a tournament, and we were afraid that somebody can message us, and we were thinking about like what should be the delay that we set. But with this change implemented, it's fine. Like, we can normally play.
Yeah, I think so. It's nice, just in general for players, not just in tournaments, but just as your day-to-day life as well, because sometimes you don't want to be disturbed and you don't want to be rude simultaneously.
True.
All right, cool.
We didn't talk about the death rattle, and that's kind of important, like the most important change in the mechanics from the start of the beta, I think. Beta. Has
it been specifically stated what of death rattles has been reordered and changed?
Yeah, the thing is, now they're just, when you play something first, it will resolve first. So that's a huge change.
Oh, okay.
An example with Sylvanas, that's a huge change, as Murbo would say, because in the old, before the patch, you could play, you could attack into Sylvanas with an example Ken to avoid her taking your minion. But right now it depends when did you play it, or when did your opponent play his minion. So that's really important, and it raises the skill cap, because you have to really pay attention to the things that players are making during the game. And it will be even more important with more death rattles coming into the game with future expansions. So, yeah.
For sure. That's a really good observation. I think people have to pay attention to it. That might prompt more people to be taking notes during games as well, which I don't know how tournaments have policies about it, but it seems like for the most part, some people are open to writing down stuff as things getting played. So more of a memory game as well, seeing people can do that.
When you play traditional card games, you basically are used to making notes, because that's the all the pros are doing it. But I think the computer games and esports community is kind of new to the thing, because why would you take notes? An example, League of Legends or Dota or anything else.
You don't have time.
Makes sense.
Oh my God, he has 20 Zerglings. I better note it down.
Yeah, we're playing League of Legends. I have to note the ultimate now and play again. But yeah,
you write down what times the spawns are, right? That's what you'd use.
Yeah, but in Hearthstone, it's very useful, and I think people will take advantage of it, and it's kind of normal to the guys used to CCGs and TCGs.
Sure.
Personally, I love it. I mean,
it's not a memory game, right? The idea is that you're supposed to make decisions based off information. That's what's kind of cool. But what were you saying, Gnimsh?
Yeah, I really liked taking notes during DreamHack, because you can write down all the cards, and then increase the quality of your game, and also like you free the memory space. Like, you don't have to really think about what cards were actually played, but you can think about the future plays. And if you want to double check something or anything, you can just check the notes. So it's very helpful.
Cool. Well, maybe more people will adapt it, and it can just raise the general quality of play for people who want to see that. Now, let's talk a little bit about the meta, boys, and talk about the implications of the first 6 cards that's been released as we pull it up on screen. There's 4 neutral. We had the Haunted Creeper, which is a 1/2 death rattle that summons 2 1/1 tokens called Spectral Spiders upon its death. Interesting to note that Haunted Creeper is a beast card, but the Spectral Spiders are not.
Ghosts.
So it's not like a chibi version of Savannah Highmane, which spawns 2 beast creatures. You can't get that synergy, but it still produces these creatures for value. You have the Narubar Weblord, which is increasing the cost of every Battlecry minion by 2, and they do stack. For 1/4. You do have the Nerubian Egg, which has received probably the most hype behind Naxxramas because people assume it's broken. I don't know if it's broken, but we'll talk about that in a second. You summon a 4/4 whenever it dies, and it's a 0/2. You have Myexna, which is a legendary card. It's a 2/8/6 mana card. Wherever she attacks a minion and does damage, that minion dies. Think Emperor Cobra, but with 8 health and costs 6 mana. Then you have 2 class card specific Poison Seeds, which destroys every minion and replaces them with a 2/2 Treant, and then a Nubar Ambusher, which is the 5/5 rogue card that saps your own minion at random upon death. I want to kind of start off this conversation by talking about which cards have immediate impact in which kind of archetypes. And feel free to talk about anything. We'll start with you, Lothar, because you wanted to talk about this from the very beginning of the show.
Yeah. I'm so anxious to talk about it.
Go ahead.
Let's start with the egg, because that's most of the things that are people worrying about it. And the thing is, I was on the broken side. I really thought it's really, really good, but after reconsidering, I think it's still a really good card because it can be a pure tempo play. But on the other hand, it can stall your deck. So my initial thought was this will be a really good fit into Zoo deck, but actually it can slow your deck really, really badly. And if you get a really bad starting hand with double Nerubian X and no busts to deal with them, to crack them open, you get screwed. It can be really bad. But on the opposite side, when you play an example against something that plays minions, you can just win by turn 2. It's coin, Nerubian Egg, turn 1, then your opponent plays something with 2 attack, and then you just play Abusive Surgeons, crack your egg, kill their card, and you're just got crazy value. You got a 4/4 on turn 2, 2/1, and your opponent just lost a card. It's game breaking, I think, but this will not happen every game. So we'll have to see how the meta develops, and the Nerubian Egg can fit into many decks, not into Zoo and only Zoo. It will be maybe in Shamans, maybe in Handlocks, maybe in whatever just busts the stats of the minions, so we can see actually an Urban Egg in Paladin aggro or something like that.
Yeah, aggro in general seems to benefit a lot because of what the tempo you get, but then control decks can utilize it to trade and effectively set up a minion to kind of stop it. In a way, it kind of acts as a more accessible Ancient Watcher in a way, because a lot of people that I started seeing, when I was playing it a lot today, I played 30, 40 games when I first woke up, and I just saw people eventually ignoring my egg, just forcing me to have something to be able to do with it. And if I'm not playing something in Zoo, say I was experimenting in all kinds of decks. I was experimenting with Druid, and I was experimenting with Handlock. And sometimes if you just don't have a way to activate it, people ignore it, and then it's just there on the field. But it is easy to die, and there are ways to activate it with a lot of buffs too, especially if you play something like Zoo.
If the players are male, they will ignore your eggs.
Yeah.
I love the egg in Priest. Did you think about it in Priest? Priest always missed the 2-drop, and then you play Egg on turn 2, and on turn 3 you just Pyromancer and do stuff like coin and buff it. So you clear the board on opponent's side, and you get a 4/4 on your side.
Yeah, but the thing is, with with Priest, you will get 2 new drops, and one is the Zombie Chow, and the second one is oh wait, it's 3 mana, right? So it doesn't matter. You are right.
Dark Cultist, but it
yeah.
doesn't matter because they will be released in the future. And right now we are in a meta game where you have those 6 cards. So I'm super excited about all those cards because we played a tournament on Friday, which is the qualifier for WEC. We'll probably mention it, but we'll have to play for like an invite to a big tournament, and we have to use the cards. Like all the invited players from EU have to use those cards and create new decks. So right now, and everybody's brewing with only those 6 cards. And as Lothar mentioned, they're great for Zoo. And I think like actually that the haunted spider, how do you call that?
The haunted creeper.
Haunted creeper. Haunted creeper is even better than the egg because with the egg you have to have something to activate it. Like there is a lot of stuff to activate it because you can just buff it with anything, with like Rockbiter or like Power Overwhelming, as a life coach mentioned on Deck Wars. But the Haunted Creeper, you just play it, and then it will develop the board eventually. Like it can deal damage, it can attack, and it creates spiders. And if your opponent kills it on your turn, you get those spiders. You can buff them with like Defender Vargas, with Power of the Wild. There is a lot of stuff to do with the spiders, and it's so annoying. Like when the Zoo is playing with so many Defraddle cards, Nerubian Eggs, Haunted Creepers, Harvest Golems, it builds such a board that's so hard to deal with. Because before, when you were using an AoE card and committing your turn, like swiping or Starfall or whatever, you were just clearing the board for the whole turn, spending 5-4 mana, and it's done. Like the board is clear, it's fine. Then they play another card, and you can deal with this. And right now, with so many Develop cards, you clear the board, but not really, because there is always something. A 4/4, double ones. So it's the metagame really changes with only those 6 cards, with mostly the Creeper and the Nerubian Egg. Also, Shaman. The basic strategy of the Shaman is to set up the board, mostly with the totems and stuff, but still, you have the Creeper, you have Nerubian Egg, and if you can set up the board with those cards and follow up with Flametongue Totem or other things, Shaman seems pretty interesting here. So those cards actually work in almost every class. Like even Druid, when like a token Druid or Nerubian Egg actually works in every deck. Let's Lothar mention. Like you can either Keeper of the Grove it, 2 damage into it.
Yeah.
Like,
that's bad.
well, you can do it if you really have to.
in tight situations, all right?
Yeah, that's
you
true.
never know.
Well, Argent Squire turn 1, turn 2 Egg, turn 3 Keeper into your own egg.
I used Poison Seeds with it one game because then it created a 2/2 and a 4/4.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
meanwhile,
That's
I reset my opponent's board. I reset my opponent's board while doing it too. So yeah, it was a cute play. It didn't win me the game. I actually lost that game, but I felt good doing it.
Mage seems a lot weaker now, by the way. Because normally you play Blizzard or Flamestrike, and you really expect the board to be clear after that. And if you see those spiders...
Yeah, the thing is that an anti-AoE card was the Amani Berserker before the patch. And right now that slot just got
taken away by those spiders.
Yeah, by those two cards, by Nerubian X and by spiders, because they're better actually. Than
Brawl is so much worse now.
Yeah, that's true.
Effects.
Well, with the Haunted Creeper, you just have to whirlwind afterwards, or something equivalent to that.
Well, I think that while Pyromancer will make a huge, better impact, a comeback to the metagame, because his effect is after the death rattles. He can be played so that's really important.
It's so funny that really we got those cards. And the cards are new, everybody wants to try them. But on the other hand, like people are looking at the old cards and thinking, okay, how can I counter those new spiders that people play? And the spiders are amazing, but there are some cards that are really good. Like people thought maybe this will be the return of the Kodo, because Kodo destroys the small minions, so it's so good. But with those Defraddle cards, Kodo is not that good, I think. But Cabal Shadow Priest is amazing. That's why we will see a lot of priests right now, like on the ladder as well. I heard that 70% of decks are priest. And I was playing Priest yesterday as well.
Yeah, and we will see a circle because Zoo is popular, so we'll see a match of priests to counter Zoo with Cabal Shadow Priests and stuff, and Wild Pyromancers, and then we'll see match of Druid, which will counter the priests, and yeah, the circle will be closed because Zoo will be beating the Druid will beat the priest, and priest will beat Zoo.
Well, it's nice to see Priest being cycled back in. I personally like Haunted Creeper because I think it gives some classes consistency and early damage as well. Like I put him in Hunter because I thought the beat, like I didn't know the Spectral Spiders weren't beasts at first because it doesn't make sense. It is a beast. It's like the reverse of the Razorfin Hunter. Like doesn't make sense. You might as well just make it beast. But what happened was when I started playing on turn 2, a lot of times Hunter has that trouble doing that 1 extra damage, and they're always taking up, like, if you combine it with something like Razorfin Hunter, sometimes you're just short of like trading effectively. And I think these cards, like the Ruby Egg and Haunted Creeper, give a little bit more consistency to decks in areas where it's pretty weak. So I think it's really cool, some of the dynamics that you have. One card that we've kind of ignored too is the Web Lord, which I really didn't think it performed that well until I realized how much it trolled Miracle decks like a ton with their drops. Like they couldn't play Farseers or Drakes or even Leroy for a long time until they removed it. So I don't know about your guys' impressions about this card, but I thought it had its use. It's not amazing, like overpowered, but it definitely has its use. And the stats aren't that bad either for early game.
So the thing about Weblord, like I wanted to go to Weblord because it's a huge elephant in the room as well. It's kind of different than the Death Rattle cards, but still, this card will have an impact for sure. So I was thinking the same as you, like this card counters Miracle Rogue because you can play it, like Miracle Rogue has those key turns that he wants to play Azure Drake or he wants to double Leroy on turn 8 and just kill you, right? And with like double Shadow Step. So like triple Leroy, double Shadow Step. And you can play Weblord and totally destroy their plan. So I was thinking, okay, Weblord would be great counter to Miracle Rogue and Zoo as well, because Zoo is running 90% of minions are like Battle Cry minions.
Yeah, that's true.
But then I saw Forsen playing Miracle with the Weblord because he was able to use it to his advantage. Yeah, like Forsen yesterday was playing Miracle with the
awesome.
Weblord, and I was like, wait a minute, maybe it's not that painful for the Miracle, and you can actually like use it.
Yeah, that was the thing I was talking about Lothar and actually Weblord, because those cards are like meant to counter Miracle Rogue, but they can be useful to Miracle as well, because if you're playing Miracle Rogue, this will like push your turn in advantage in mirror matches, and it's great against Droid also because he won't be able to use the combo and finish you off when you just set up for lethal next turn. So yeah,
Lothar, which is
Lothar.
already still. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's the same with Nerble Weblord. It's actually usable in the deck that that I think it was meant to counter it.
Yeah, it's that's funny how that works. I don't really know how that'd perform, at least on paper, but I guess I could see where Forsen's coming from. That's interesting.
Well, basically, you have only Leroy, Azure Drake, and Farseer. And some of the builds were playing just only one Azure Drake and one Farseer. So if you feel like you don't really need Farseer that much, if you have like a more version, then
you can also include the new Spider, right, for Rogue 455. I didn't remember the name of it. It's Anubar Ambusher.
Ambusher,
and it has a Death Rattle, so it doesn't interfere with an Herbal Weblord.
Oh, by the way, it's important to mention that Weblord doesn't work with combo and choose. So SI7, which is a combo card, Edwin is a combo card. They are not affected by Weblord.
Druids and Rogues are immune to this, which is pretty insane to think about that, but whatever, it's Blizzard's game, not mine. I don't know necessarily if they're going to change that. Someone said that might be a bug, but I think that was a rumor. I think Blizzard specifically intended to choose this way. I think it'd be really interesting if that was a way to kind of stop Druids from their Ancient of Lore turns, like basically negate their innervates in a way, to make them pay a little bit more. I think maybe they can specify if that's supposed to happen. But for now, PSA to people, this web lore doesn't affect rogue and druid class specific cards that use combo and choose.
I think it wouldn't because the card will be too strong. It's just a common card, and
that is true. That is
it
true.
would affect too many cards. And
it's 1/4. It's really hard to kill it like right away. You don't want to burn 2 cards just to get rid of it 1/4.
That is true.
Okay.
One thing before we move on to the next card, because we already talked about Nerubian Egg, but one thing that I experimented with, because I just remember this. I'm actually browsing my Hearthstone collection right now to kind of go through some of the ideas. I actually experimented with Crazed Alchemist in Zoo for a little bit because I thought it was interesting with some of the buffs you can increase with health, and then I didn't like it, so I dismissed it. But then when I started playing in Nerubian Egg and I put Crazed Alchemist in, it was actually really interesting once again because it's another way to activate it. It was kind of like the Sun Fury to my Watcher. Just throwing it out there. I'm not sure if anyone wants to actually follow up, but I thought it was a really cool combo.
I think the AI uses that combo in Next Ramus, right?
Crazed Alchemist and Nerubian? Really?
Yeah. I think I thought it. I mean, I saw it.
Way to take my hipsterness away from me, right under me. Okay.
No, sorry.
I thought that was clever of me to think of it, but I guess I'm not.
I'm clever. Come on.
I'm pretty sure.
Because what's cool is you use like Abusive Sergeants on like the Dark Iron Dwarf buff and then Crazed Alchemist and then all of a sudden and then you combine that with the Nerubian Egg. It's really cool. Just put it out there. All right, let's talk about some of these other cards too. Let's talk about the last neutral card, Myexna. And Lothar, you've already said that you feel like this card is not that great relative to its mana cost. Do you have any other comments on that before, I guess, Gnimsh?
Yeah, it's a beast, right? So the main purpose of playing beasts is Hunter. And it kind of like interferes with the other six drops you have, so Savannah Highmane. And I think that Hunter doesn't want to have more 6 drops than just Savannah. And Myexna with the 2 attack is not so good. It's like a board control minion, but I think 6 mana in this metagame right now will not have an impact. I would just take Savannah Highmane every time. I would have to if I would have to choose if I play a Myexna or Savannah Highmane. That makes no sense just to play Myexna. And if you want to combo her in like other decks, the only combo I just like top of my head is using with Shadow Flame because it kills the whole board of your opponents. But that's the same thing you can do with Emperor Cobra, and it makes more sense because it has you will have to pay 3 mana less for it. So yeah.
The best use that I've seen with Myexna is putting her in that Crusher Shaman deck and then Ancestral Healing Myexna, which is because then it becomes like for 6 mana, then it becomes like this wall of like I used it against Zoo and Ancestral Healing, like because you have it with the injured Blade Masters, the Earth Elementals, and stuff like that, and it just fits that kind of mode where you basically set up these huge walls that people have to keep getting through.
But against Zoo,
I haven't found a way to combo it.
But against Zoo, you don't need more. Basically, you don't need more than 2 attacks, so her text actually doesn't make sense in this matchup. And you can actually play anything else that has big body and like more than 2 attack, and it will be outcome will be probably the same, and it will be not so like prone to silence, because silencing Myexna just makes her really bad. I think I would play also the Saltwater Snapjaw anytime over Myexna. I think
that's true. It's got similar stats. Other than the effect, of course. One thing that's interesting to note is that Myexna will be a card that you can draw from Web Spinner, right, from Hunters. So maybe sometimes you get Myexna as a card off that 1 drop. So that'd be kind of interesting if that's the case. Gnimsh, do you have any thoughts about Myexna? Because Lothar basically went to town on her and sent her away, banished her to the Shadow Realm. Are you going to counterpoint that at all?
I'm trying to find a way to use her effectively, but I can't find anything right now.
Well, Houndmaster is the only thing you can do.
Yeah, the Houndmaster in Hunter makes sense because then it's a 4/10. But
yeah, Saltwater Snapjaw will be 4/9. So
you can
cost 2 mana less.
The thing about Myexna is that even if you play it, the card does nothing on turn 6 when you play it, and then she will destroy one minion, like probably the biggest minion you have, but you can just attack. Like, for example, I have Kern, or, well, it's weird to have Kern or Sylvanas on turn 6, and then my opponent plays Max, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. I
Cool
attack
story.
into you, and will you destroy my Kern and or Sylvanas?
I'll just use Keeper of the Grove and silence it.
Yeah, and it's like to attack.
I saw it once being used. Play turn 6, and then turn 7 you faceless with Mark of the Wild, and that was pretty annoying to deal with. Like 4/10 and whatever it touches dies.
But it's still,
it was very
still, like,
situational, and it wasn't like very solid. It was just a surprise thing, you know.
Yeah, and you have to get 2 innervates to make that in 1 turn.
No. It was on turn 6. He played
Max
that,
on turn
and then
7, yeah.
like, so on turn 5 he had the Druid of the Claw, and I couldn't deal with it fully, so it stayed alive at like 4/2, and then the next turn he played like my X, and the next turn he did Mark of the Wild on it plus faceless on turn 7, and then I had to deal with 2 4/10s after I dealt with Druid of the Claw. It was just like this interesting thing that I wasn't expecting, because I was like, oh, it's my X, and that's cool. And on turn 7 I was expecting like an ancient turn, but instead he just put Mark of the Wild faceless, and that was the only time where I saw it where I was like, wow, that's actually really impossible to bypass. It's like Ancient of War, but on steroids, right? Like anything it dies, or it touches dies. So it was kind of crazy. I don't really see too much of an application. One time I played my accident a Hunter, and it got Kodoed, and I said, I'm never playing this girl again. Like, I said, this is a waste. Like, I can't believe I spent all my mana just to get Kodoed. I said, screw this. And I quit
didn't think about that. Really.
I lost to a Kodoed, and I was so mad.
It could have been worse, like Cabal, Shadow Priest.
I
get your
Max.
no.
Max.
That is true. It gets stolen by Cabal Shadow Priest. That's so bad.
Yeah. So Max got wrecked.
One more attack, and it might have been better.
Yeah, and actually it would make more sense, like cost-wise, right? You got 7 Hyman with 13 points of stats and his Death Rattle, and Maxna just got 10 stat points for 6 mana. And it's legendary.
Its power on paper is just so good. Like, what if you? I mean, like, the idea is if my Exna can keep attacking things. Like, if it had Wind Fury, for example, it'd be so powerful because it can just kill a lot of stuff, and you don't need a lot of attack because essentially, if it just damages, even if it had 1 attack, it would kill everything.
Yeah, but
other than Divine Shields,
you would want more damage than just attacks because
you attack the face.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Forget about Max now.
Just attack the face and kill every hero you touch, right? That's what Twitch chat's going to be saying. My accident to the face. All right. We have our first class card. It's Poison Steeds from Druid. We talked a little bit about some of the combos with maybe Nerubian Egg. Did you guys get to experiment with this at all?
Yeah.
No, I didn't have time, but the first thing I would want to test is with Abomination, and I hope it works.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but it's like 9 mana.
It's still the one combination for Druid that he can actually swipe the whole board. So it's actually, I think it's viable.
Why not Starfall then? Because Starfall does the same thing, 2 damage across the board.
But
5 mana.
It's even better.
Abomination can be played on board until 5 just to make a board presence.
That's true. That's true.
I was playing Poison Seeds in a Druid where I was playing versus Zoo, and Zoo was testing new cards as well. So it didn't end well for me because
he was
playing Ruben Eggs, Harvest Golems, Haunted Creepers, and I'm like, yeah, 4 guys. I cast Poison Seeds, destroy the board. He gets 4 tokens, and he gets spiders and damage golem. It's like, okay, what do I do on turn 5? So it was pretty weird. But I think still like the card is good because it's kind of like a hard removal. So the first thing that comes to mind in the Druid is like, do I still need a BGH? Because maybe I can use Poison Seeds. It's kind of like the same mana. And do I still need Black Knight? I mean, Black Knight is great when you can play it and actually hit, right? It gives you a huge swing. But they really need Black Knight because kind of like Poison Seeds deals with the big taunts as well.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Poison Seeds is great against Handlock.
Yeah, like
it's really
it's very good versus Handlock.
I think it's really good in the mirror too, because a lot of times in the mirror, if they have like the Yeti and the Ancient of Lore and like, Sunwalker, you can't deal with all those minions at once.
But you
Very
have
difficult.
to
And
follow up with the board killer because otherwise you will be killed by the combo, or
no,
even
no,
just
I
by
think,
Savage.
yeah, I think so. I'm just saying that I think Poison Seed gives a way to fight back in the mirror as well, because a lot of times mirrors just get way out of control, and someone innervates something out, and then you're stuck taking damage and removing every turn. And then Poison Seeds allows you to potentially swing, because oftentimes you're dropping a minion to die anyways in trade, and then even worse, they sometimes get to pick a good trade and swipe it or something. So I've used it in a mirror a couple times, and it ended up swinging my position. So it was a nice use there.
The problem I face with the card is that when you actually cut cards from the Druid deck to add Poison Seeds, then you look at the deck and there's like a lot of spells because there is double swipe on turn 4, double point of Poison Seeds, and then there's Force of Nature. So it's like, okay, where are my minions? So
Yeah, so many spells. I think maybe it could work in a token drill, like you said. Maybe it's the removal. It's access removal instead of BGH and Black Knight. You kind of condense it into Poison Seed, and then Power of the Wild your own and trade. I have no idea.
well, you can always like Force of Nature 6 into face and then Poison Seed to get the actual trance not to
That's
die.
true. They have him stay, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. That's actually really cool. But that's 10 mana.
Yeah,
So,
I know, right?
a
But
very, very
You got
costly way.
innervates.
turn
to be
6 with double
fancy.
innervate. Come on.
Oh man, double innervate and then Power of the Wild or something like that. It's crazy. Let's move on to the last card, which is a Nubar Ambusher. It's a 5/5 for 4, which on paper looks amazing, but the Death Rattle sometimes works in reverse tempo because it returns a friendly minion to your hand. Do you guys have any impressions? I will admit I have not played with this card whatsoever. I was not inclined to. It didn't look very good.
Yeah, I think it's great on paper too. But I have to like extensively test it in some decks. But I think it will fit into both Miracle Rogue and Tempo Rogue because it's a really great minion for the stats and for the cost, and it actually makes sense if you build your deck against with another battle cries that will be usable or combo cards like agents. So I think Anobar can be very useful, and still it's such a huge threat on the board that your opponent actually has to deal with it. So it's like it has a big red mark on his forehead.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of wonder. I was kind of thinking, does this fit in something like a backspace rogue that has a lot of chargers and ways to do damage? But
Yeah, that's true.
it's kind of hard to say. It's kind of hard to say because it's. I don't
Wasn't
know.
Yeti better? Because
Uh,
on one hand, there's like, okay, 5/5 for 4, which is great, but then it has the Fraddle, which is a problem. So if you are not able to use the Fraddle to your advantage, it's possible, like if you have Arcane Golems and stuff and charge minions, or like something with Battlecry, maybe it will work. But it really depends on the deck, because if you can't if the Fraddle is still a drawback for you, maybe Yeti is just better because
yeah,
Yeti has
you
no
have
drawback.
just to make your deck about synergy. So Anobar will have a place in the charge decks and a combo battle cry decks. So yeah, I think like with so much new effects that will like be found with new power. I think like old cards that never had been used will be used with other to make some new synergies like kind of Brewmaster, and I think Anuba just has to find his sweet spot in a deck.
Brewmaster, so like it dies or attunes the Brewmaster, then you play the Brewmaster on something else and Shadow Step that. God, I can't even imagine the amount of mill you can do with Cold Light Oracle in that scenario is pretty funny. Like you have this, and on turn 5 you like Cold Light Oracle, a new bar Suicide, and then put it back and then Shadow Step it. For
Actually, Cold Light Oracle is really great with Anabra. It makes a lot of sense.
That's interesting.
I mean, in an aggro rogue. I mean, of course.
Yeah, the backspace Cold Light Oracle rogue.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool. Well, we talked about pretty much all the possible stuff that we think about. I don't necessarily know if all of these cards are available in Arena, but I think they are at the moment. I think so. So if you're drafting Druid and Rogue in Arena, you might hit these cards and you can experiment. I don't know too much about the Arena value of these stuff because I don't really spend too much time playing it. But some of them seem to be there's a lot of minions with Battlecry. I think Weblord is actually pretty sick in Arena because it's a common, it's a 2-drop that hits, and it can really affect a lot of the battle cries that minions have there. I don't know if you guys have any opinions on Arena, but some of the viewers who do watch this podcast, they also play a lot of Arena, so maybe they're interested in seeing the value of that as well. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? That's probably the last thing we talk about with these cards.
I think Haunted Creeper is pretty good.
Yeah,
because Haunted Creeper is like Harvest Golem.
That's true.
Yeah, it's true. It is Harvest Golem. That's sick. Thinking about that. Wow. 2-mana Harvest Golem. Well, definitely encourage you guys to experiment and try for yourself. And again, if you have any more questions, towards the end of the show, we're going to be taking questions in the Twitch chat as well as Reddit to see what you guys want to know about it. But we're going to move on, unless you guys want to talk about anything specific related to Nax before we discuss some of the tournaments that happen.
I think we're pretty much done. Arachnid Wing is for free, so everybody can enjoy it. So definitely tell your friends that they can just log in and play with the basic cards they have. The Neutral Wing is really easy, and you can experience the new bosses. But yeah, we're getting to get a new wing every week. They are paid, but still, there is a lot of fun incoming. So
I'm guessing it's every Tuesday that they're going to release a wing, right?
Yeah, that's true.
possibly,
But
yeah.
actually, it makes sense to make new accounts. I mean, to start the game on other servers that are not that you're even not playing, because you can just play through the wing with basic decks, I think, and win the normal challenges, and you will get the cards for free and like decrease the cost of your future wings. So I don't have like any cards at the servers from Asia, but I think I would just start my account there just to make the first wing of Nextramas.
The question is, Lothar, is how many other accounts do you make? Where do you stop?
No, I just
stop. Do you stop at 40?
Just sell them.
Oh, shots fired.
I'm just messing. All right, we're done with this topic. That's a really good advice, by the way, Lothar. And I'm really looking forward to see how people continue to innovate. And it's only the first wing. There's going to be 5 more, there's going to be 5 total, right? As far as I remember. So we'll be back next week talking about it. And we'll check in with you guys again when the meta continues to develop. And definitely check out some of these tournaments that are going to be playing these cards. It's really cool. Let's talk a little bit about the tournaments. We're going to start first with Lothar because he is our special guest. We talked about DreamHack Valencia. A lot of people were watching IEM Shenzhen, but not too many people watched DreamHack Valencia. So let's do a little bit of recap of what happened. How do you pronounce his name? Thalai?
I think
he ended up winning DreamHack. Okay, Thalai. He's a Spanish local. He ends up winning DreamHack Valencia. He managed to upset Ekop in the finals, who everyone thought was the favorite to win. And a lot of people didn't know too much, but apparently he has a big Magic the Gathering background. Lothar, talk to us a little bit about... oh, sorry, what?
He's also a poker player.
Oh, okay, cool. So why don't you talk a little bit about the stories and highlights from the tournament, your experience at DreamHack from both behind the scenes and both like what people saw on stream?
Well, there are so many like mostly negative things to say about the DreamHack Valencia, unfortunately, because they all started with the late information about the tournament itself. So we got little time to prepare for the tournament, prepare traveling, prepare booking hotels and stuff. And in my case, traveling to Valencia was a really tough time. I had to like get up 2 a.m, get to Berlin from Poznan, then get to Barcelona from Berlin, and then get to Valencia from Barcelona. So that trip was 18 hours long just to go to Spain. So that was really exhausting. And well, I know the organizers, the admins from DreamHack Valencia, like really cared about the tournament, but unfortunately it didn't turn out so good. We only did have the Spanish stream, and the venue was like didn't have much space for Hearthstone. It was actually just like a small spot with 12 computers, I think, and the other computers were in a different place, like 20 meters nearby the streaming spot. Well, yeah, there were not so many stories, I think, as it were more, there was more upsets about the tournaments, and I think we have to talk about that. And first of all, the Swiss tournament. Shall we proceed with that?
Swiss
Sure.
is cool.
Talk to us about the Swiss. How did it go?
Yeah, that didn't go so well because it was announced as a Swiss tournament, and everyone was so happy. Like, this is the first time we'll have Swiss. All the players will be really happy to make a proper appearance by playing 7 rounds or 6 or I don't know, maybe 8. It depends on the amount of players.
Wait, maybe explain quickly what is actually a Swiss. Like, not everybody knows.
Swiss is a tournament format that was made for chess like hundreds of years ago, and it's really well thought. Like, it basically works like this. You have a number of players, which is X, and you got so many rounds that is actually prepared for the actual number of the players. So, in example, if you have 16 players in the tournament, there will be 4 rounds. If you have up to 32 players, you'll get 5 rounds. If you got up to 48 or 64.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, but the number of rounds increases with the number of players in the tournament. So you actually have to play every single round to make to the top. And this is really fair, because in card games, that is such a violent system, such a violent game that like even the best player can lose to a mediocre player. Swiss makes the player play more rounds and get the odds in his favor. Like, the better player will win probably more rounds than the players that are playing worse.
More games.
But on the other hand, like the worst player will still play the rounds and will have more opportunity to actually learn instead of just getting eliminated in the beginning.
Yeah, but an example, if you would go to a single elimination tournament, a double elimination, you'll probably just play maybe 1 or 2 games, and you will be really sad about the outcome. You traveled so much and prepared for the tournament and played 1 game or 2. That's really depressing. And Swiss makes up for it. So everyone was looking forward to the Swiss tournament. But as it turned out, the organizers made some confusing changes to the perfect system.
Yeah, I heard about this.
I can't really explain because I didn't understand it. It was so confusing.
They changed it to double elimination.
We can actually touch about this. This is something I wanted to bring up because I heard a lot of complaints from the player side about the DreamHack admins in Valencia basically not. They kind of messed it up here. They fumbled a little bit. This is what I was told. I'm not sure if this is true. I'm not sure if it's confirmed, but I've heard it from multiple counts, which makes me inclined to believe that it's kind of true. So there's kind of a myriad of problems. The first starting was that there was format changes nonstop. For the top 16, they kept changing decisions from being able to play 3 decks and then maybe 4 decks, but then maybe 4 decks and you ban one. It just kept kind of stacking and really confused the players. But even in the Swiss rounds, there was things like, instead of saying 3 different classes, they said 3 different decks, which allowed people to play like Handlock Zoo and keep switching between it in the same series, despite the fact that it's usually against the rules to, when you defeat a class, usually they can't play. Like if you beat Warlock first time, you can't play another Warlock right afterwards. So there was like these weird, confusing rules. that kept flip-flopping back and forth. I heard that the players also could hear the casters, but the casters were only casting in Spanish because there was no headsets. And in addition to that, I heard that the players on the left of the stream could also see the screen of the casters. They just kind of leaned a little bit. And so there was just like a really janky setup to the point where players had access to what the casters were seeing from both sides.
I don't know if that's actually true.
This is what I heard.
Happened,
I'm not sure.
but I heard that too, and it made sense because I seen the setup, and it was really like it could really happen that one of the players could actually see the screen of the hosts, but I didn't see like in game. So it actually could like they could turn around the monitor or whatever, but yeah, it was really bad.
And okay, so I want to ask a question to you guys, because we've seen some good production value on IEM. We've seen good production value at DreamHack Sweden as well. DreamHack Valencia was not prepared. Like, definitely there were some bumps on the road. They were hard to contact because I know that Lothar tried to reach out to the admins first to like set the format to reach the pros. Do you guys think that when you are not prepared, is it better to not have a tournament at all?
Well, Gnimsh, this is like before I answer that question, I kind of want to tell you the biggest offense in my opinion, because I didn't even tell you the big thing that rustled my jimmies. Yes, I'm a little salty about when I heard this.
Hi, Mom.
A few players, I don't know how many it was. I know it was at least one player. They advanced by reporting wrong scores in Swiss. They said they won when they didn't, and as a result, some players who legitimately won got edged out because of tiebreaker score, like Dan Dito, for example, the guy who qualified through DreamHack Sweden. You remember him, Gnimsh? I think he was in your, or maybe he was in the Fresno's group. I don't remember, but he was a BYC player, very skilled. He's earned a lot of respect from players. He didn't advance, even though he lost once, and a player who reported his score wrong actually lost twice. So we actually had cheaters. Whether I don't know if it was intentional or intentional, but I'm gonna guess it's intentional here, because how do you accidentally report a wrong score? You were there in the series unless you were high or drunk or both. I don't understand how they mix it up. And then the admin said that they didn't have time to make it again. It was too much trouble, of a hassle, to replay the series. So a player that didn't deserve to be in the top 16 ended up being there, and he won a series. Apparently, this guy was the guy who played Gar, and that's how I found out that he wasn't supposed to be there. He should have been DQ'd because he actually reported his wrong score. How does that happen? Can you explain that to me? Like, I don't understand. Above everything else, you allow a person that specifically broke the rules in this instance and delegitimize the entire competition, because it's unfair that Thylai and Ekop and Lothar, who got top 8, like all these players who actually got far in the event, to allow this to happen. Like, that boggles my mind beyond belief. And I'm not sure, again, maybe I'm shooting blind fires and this entire argument is unsubstantiated, but this is what I heard, and that really gets me upset when I hear it.
Yeah. I understand why your rustles are why your jimmies are rustled, but the thing is, we were like knowing this stuff after the fact, because Gara already lost his top 16. And we were talking about stuff, and like 1 hour later, Gar says to me that this guy actually that he lost to, he actually did win just one round in the Swiss. That was ridiculous, because he got 2 free wins, then he got 1 win, and he lost 2 times, and he got to top 16 apparently. And I like was confused, and I didn't know how to even handle it. And what I know from other players, from Gara, I think, is that when they did get the information about the wrong score, both of the players from the game had won. So basically, the whole Swiss tiebreakers and stuff were just messed up from that point. And I don't really know how to make that straight, because you can't really even, when you use a software for making the Swiss tournament, you don't have an option to actually put 2 two guys with win in one bracket, so that's like impossible to do. And when you're doing a tournament in Excel sheet, and that's actually how it was organized, it can be messy, and it was messy. And the other thing I want to like point out that organizers, and this is the second time that DreamHack didn't do that. Well, it was done at DreamHack Summer, but it didn't work out. Is check in before the tournament, because I think that most of the esports organizers like have just to take the ready recipe from the TCGs and just adapt it to Hearthstone. So basically do it like every Pro Tour or Grand Prix or Darkmoon Fair from Magic or WoW TCG, and just make it the same way. So every player comes to the desk, just gives their deck lists printed out or whatever, and checks in. So you know how many players will attend. You can you can alter the brackets for it. You can alter the Swiss rounds, whatever your format is. You have to know how many players are attending the tournament, and
they have to even uphold their integrity of their rules, the integrity of competition. Like, I don't understand how these admins let that happen. And some of the comments when we were watching the event, I'm sorry to cut you off, Lothar, but I really feel like I really feel like this is such a waste. A lot of teams and players spent money to travel to this event only to allow it to be mishandled again behind the excuses that this organizer is new to Hearthstone. This organizer, well, they don't traditionally put on tournament. You're representing DreamHack, which is one of the most beloved franchises in all of the entire esports industry, and you're going to represent them with a one of the most horrendous tournaments ran that I've ever heard of. Like, they literally got nothing right. They got nothing right.
I can tell you how this happens.
Administratively, did nothing. They got the rules wrong. They let players in that shouldn't have been. The production on the stream was very poor quality. There was delays. They didn't have anything whatsoever, and it was.
I don't really want to be
worst experience.
Well, I can tell you how this happened actually, because the thing is, Hearthstone doesn't have enough respect yet. I think like Spain is not the esports center, so they probably had to get some new people who didn't work on those kinds of events before. And I know that like when you have an admin is not paid enough. Like, you just get those people and tell them, hey, this is the pay. This pay is not good, but hey, can you organize this tournament for us? And those people are not trained. They are not prepared. They do their best, or they don't even do their best. Okay, I just want to organize this tournament. I don't really care about it, and I don't want to. I want to get over it. So like when we see, for example, DreamHack Valencia specifically, because for example for DreamHack Bucharest, there was an organizer, Andre, who was really into organizing a good event. Like, he was communicating with us all the time. He was thinking about stuff. Like, literally, DreamHack Bucharest could be the same as DreamHack Valencia, but Andre made it a good event. Like, he organized everything. He consulted the format. Like, unfortunately, we had best of one, but we didn't have a choice. But it was still consulted. And he was the man who was behind the tournament. He made it good. And I know that he wasn't really paid enough for his work. So
even so, though, Gnimsh, even so, we don't. Then who do you? There's someone here to blame. Whether it's the admins themselves, which I don't think so. Maybe if they tried their best, okay. But if they tried their best and this is what we got, then those people don't know how to put on a tournament of any kind. Like, of any kind. Like, it's everything basic, from being able to at least follow your own rules and not allow people to improperly. If that guy cheated, DQ him. That's just straight up. He's improper. And whether it was an accident, like say he played a card that wasn't in his deck list, it was his incompetence that he broke the rules. He wasn't careful for it. He should be penalized for it. There's something that went on wrong. I've heard a little bit from the players saying maybe it's because the Spanish organizers wanted Spanish players to succeed and they wanted that. I don't know if that's actually true. I don't really care about that. The fact of the matter is that there's incompetence being demonstrated here with people's money and hard work on the line. It's like, it's unfair. Like, I really feel bad for guys like Caldi who go out and try to get exposure. Caldi thought he was playing BYOC only to be confused that he was playing Swiss, but then the seeds were like drawn last second on the spot at the tournament, and they didn't even have that prepared. Like, that's basic tournament adminning 101. Who are these admins that they're getting?
There is a simple solution to that, by the way, because and we can come back to the question that do you think that the tournament should be organized if they are not prepared for that? But there's a simple solution to what you said. You said that they were not sure how to organize the tournament. They had so many problems with the stuff, like they didn't understand Swiss and didn't understand BYOC. What if Blizzard actually releases a deck with information like, hey, this is Hearthstone. If you want to organize a tournament, those are the rules. Use those rules. And if you want to use different rule set, consult with us, right? Because like I know Blizzard is approving those events. Like those people, I hope they actually communicate with Blizzard, and also like people from Blizzard are on those events and they are overseeing them, communicating with the organizers. But still, they leave most of the stuff to the organizer of the event to make it good. So if the event is bad, it's mostly like Blizzard is not involved. But still, in card games, Wizards of the Coast and before Cryptozoic was owning WoW TCG and Magic, they have rule sets. They have organized play program when they specifically advise people how to run events in Magic or like in World of Warcraft TCG. So maybe Hearthstone is the first game that Blizzard released that requires something like that.
I understand, and I completely get your point. They're new to this, but how much does that actually become a legitimate excuse for everything that went happen? I can understand a few flubs. Like, for example, at DreamHack Sweden, in summer, we allowed some format changes. That's fine. There were some production issues. That's fine. There was, issues where the players sometimes could maybe hear a little bit of the casters because it's on a big stage with a lot of booming stuff. Maybe they didn't hear everything, but they could hear like when casters get loud, when fans get loud, they can hear that. So that way, maybe it's a surprise factor. That all kind of is like part of the learning process. But when some of these things, which again delegitimize the entire tournament, I can't take it seriously. I even heard that Blizzard didn't even want people to be like broadcasting or like this is off the record obviously, but I heard that there was rumors of like Blizzard didn't want people to pay attention to this tournament because they were embarrassed with how this was been, and that reflects my feeling of this. This was an embarrassment to DreamHack as well, because again, I feel like DreamHack runs great tournaments all year long. What's crazy too? Their StarCraft part of the DreamHack Valencia was beautiful. Like everything part of it, the players and the stage was great, the lights and everything, the casters with Artosis was there with Tasteless and In Control. It was all fantastic. And then just to see this steaming pile of crap is just really disappointing. To see how far Hearthstone has regressed.
There's not enough respect for the game, I guess, right? Like,
sure,
I know people are learning, but I agree with you. Like, there was too much. It was just too much. So,
all right, I'm done. I'm cool.
I just hope that they will improve with next DreamHack, and next DreamHack Valencia will be worth going to, because I was really disappointed, and I do give credit for new people and new admins and stuff, but it was really disappointing and disheartening to like go again. But I really hope that they will improve and learn from this tournament. But the sad thing is that people got actually hurt, like emotionally, because of that. Like I was talking with Dandido, my arch nemesis of DreamHack Summer, and it actually, that's really sad. When you go to a Swiss tournament, you go 4-1 and you're out.
Yeah, that's
like impossible in Swiss. You go 4-1, then you're almost 90% in the top, or you will have to play one more round, because I think that was the case, to play 6 rounds, I think. I don't really remember, but I know that some people with 4-2, it was 6 rounds. Some people with 4-2 did advance to the next stage, and an example Dandido didn't. Or an example, my teammate from Planet Key Dynamics, Vortex, was seeded into like last round of Swiss. So he actually played 1 game in Swiss
and lost.
And lost.
And didn't advance.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's a lot of lessons learned, and I don't think it's Spain. I don't think it's I think the organizers. I think it was just a perfect storm. It's a comedy of errors. We always say that next DreamHack will be better. Hopefully, it will be. I think the next one's in Moscow in September, so they have plenty of time to get ready. There's no DreamHack in August. Better luck next time, I guess. But until maybe DreamHack pushes in winter, for example, it's going to be a full-fledged production once again, and that can be reliable. But I really feel bad for people who are spending a lot of money sending their players out and just to have a result like that. It's kind of a shame. But again, we don't want to take away people like, for example, Thalai, who did win and you beat Ekop, a world-class player. And Ekop did get into the finals as well. People always say, what has Ekop done? You know, he's won Take TV. He's got to the finals. So congrats to him as well. I don't have anything else left to talk about this, guys, unless you guys want to say anything else. I want to move on to IEM.
I just hope that the next DreamHacks will be a blast, and I'm looking forward to it. But I don't really plan to go to Moscow because
I don't think many people
far away.
plan on doing that.
It's really far away. I think it will cost a lot, and the thing is, I'm kind of worried that we'll get the information about the tournament too late, like this case.
Is it
I
really
think
far from Poland?
Um,
Moscow shouldn't be that far.
That's true. You can drive there.
Well, okay, for me, it would be
Napoleon
better,
got there by horse, and we can use a plane.
but you know this story, right? Napoleon was frozen.
Because he was on a horse. He could take
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Okay, never mind. But you can. Yeah, I actually said something stupid. It will be like a better travel. The travel will be better for me to Moscow than to Valencia, apparently, because I will have to take one plane from Poland. But yeah, we'll have to check and get some information about the tournament itself, because without any information, you can't really make any plans.
Sure.
All right. Cool. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about another tournament that was going on simultaneously, which was the Intel Extreme Masters in Shenzhen, China. Gnimsh and I were there. We did actually a lot of the casting because Gnimsh did get eliminated early. Sorry, buddy. But you did end up hanging out with me, and we had a good time on stream, I thought.
That's true. Unfortunately, it didn't go well on the tournament side, but we had a lot of fun. And there was an anime convention, not only the tournament.
Yeah, it was in the middle of an anime expo in Shenzhen, and Gnimsh and Amaz nerded out like crazy. It was really kind of cool to see because Gnimsh was like, I mean, he sticks out like a sore thumb in China. I got there with RDU. Me and RDU had the same plane from Beijing to Shenzhen, and RDU was like, "Do you think we can find Gnimsh really easily in China?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course. He's a big, tall, white guy. It's really easy to find that." I'm really freaked out by Lothar's mask right now. I don't know what's going on. So we found Gnimsh really easily, and Gnimsh is so much taller than everyone else in China by about a head and a half. But it's so funny because he's walking around in the Anime Expo like he's home. Like he's pointing out like, oh yeah, this is from this character. And like he was like a tour guide basically showing us around. And it was really fun being able to hang out both at the event for the tournament games, but also outside of it.
Yeah, we had some good food and spent a lot of good time overall. And bought a lot of swag. Don't get freaked out. And it's not an anime mask, Frodan. You can do it.
What isn't that
Jason?
the Jason mask? Yeah.
You have a big blue dog behind you. You can survive, don't worry.
Yeah, but I don't know what's going on here, but we're gonna continue on the conversation. So, Gnimsh, talk to me a little bit about your tournament experience, like maybe about the things itself. Like, did you enjoy how IEM did it? They did it with groups. What did you think of the Asian scene, etc.?
Okay, so basically, top 16 was pretty cool. We got group stages for groups of 4 people, and I always like playing. I mean, I prefer round robin as we had in the Millennium Cup, where you have to play everybody. Here it was kind of like double elimination, so you play a match. If you lose, you play a match. If you lose, you're out. And when there is a round robin, you have to play three matches at least in a group of 4. So I would prefer to have a round robin format in the group stage, but double elimination was still fine. And I like the veto a lot again because veto allows for much more strategy than just using normal decks, because you can like veto a Miracle Rogue and then build decks in a Miracle Rogue free meta game, which is super cool and allows for more ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I really liked how the tournament was organized. Those people, the ESL guys, they have a lot of experience. They organized IEM in Katowice before. It was like their first big Hearthstone tournament, but I feel like they were really forward about it. Like I was talking to Carmack before the tournament a lot, and we thought about some stuff. Like we talked about technical limitations, and we talked about the format. So it was pretty cool that he actually approached me to discuss stuff and to tweak it to fit this kind of event. I really also enjoyed playing in a booth. Like it was the first time I was playing in a soundproof booth.
That was a very needed thing, to be honest.
For Hearthstone.
The cool thing is IEM actually improved over time, because first IEM was also like in a rush when we played it, and it felt so. But IEM Shenzhen was, in my opinion, I just watched the stream, so I wasn't there like you guys, but it really felt as a huge improvement over the first IEM that we were attending.
It's because they learn. Like they look at other people, what they do, and they learn. It's the truth. Like I asked them about preparations. Like, well, we saw DreamHack do this, but we chose to do this. Like, even if they, there's things that are out of control. Like the stream went down a few times because the venue internet was really poor, and there was all these kinds of things with China and the firewall, and very difficult to kind of get over.
China.
All those things aside, they look at what other tournaments did and try to improve upon it. And they played into their strengths. They try to broadcast as much of the games as possible. They made a showcase of the top 16. We got to see lots of cool storylines of players from Hong Kong who were doing really well, like Gino and Jackie Chan, as well as Azaria from Taiwan. People said he's not as good, but he was lucky, and that was good enough for him to get far.
Winner.
Oh yeah, Shanghai winner.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy that knocked out Gnimsh with Kalento's Paladin deck. I remember watching it and just thinking like, is this Kalento's deck? And then the Knife Juggler come out. I was like, okay. And then like Humility, I was like, okay, it is.
It was a 1/1, I think. Like he didn't change a card.
I think he had Black Knight, or I don't know if he runs.
Yeah, he had Black Knight. Black Knight was
Black Knight instead. So maybe he a little bit different, right? Overall, I was kind of unimpressed with the decision making of the Asia, but I think their metagame and deck building seems to be on par with everyone else. They think they understand, or at least net deck well enough to understand what's good in the game. And no, that's not. It's not a way to insult them. It's just to say that they understand what's good and what's not good.
I think the metagame was
skill level was different though.
The metagame was set because we were playing at the end of the old metagame, so there was so much time to actually for the metagame to set on all the regions, right? And we have some people playing on the Asian region as well, and some of the players they actually play on an A, like the Hong Kong players. Most of them play on an A, from what I heard. So there was a mixture of people playing on both regions, but still the decks were pretty much. Like the most surprising decks were actually brought by RDU and Strifecrow. Like what the really Asian cool people played, they were mostly like the standard stuff, right? No naturalize.
No naturalize. We hyped it up so much, but there's definitely a lot of Mark of the Wilds, and so that was really fun. Let's talk a little bit about Amaz's run through tournaments now. Gnimsh plot. Lothar, you've watched him a lot. I've casted him a ton. Amaz and his RNG doesn't seem very fair.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like it's actually the most imbalanced thing in Hearthstone. People say Miracle Rogue and Gadget Stand. Some people say Warlock and their hero powers. Nope. Clearly the most broken and overpowered thing in Hearthstone is Amaz's RNG. It doesn't even have to. And I think it's unfairly taking away some of his tournament performances. But to a degree, at the same time, it's not like he didn't play without fault. Like we went and watched back, and I remember watching that Holy Fire play with the Ragnaros, and then he basically put himself in a position in order to get lucky a few times. But I think overall, like Amaz is a really good player, and I was really happy because I think he's a good ambassador to the scene. So it's nice that he gets a couple of wins and stuff. I think I would have been pretty upset if Azeri won the tournament because I felt like he didn't play very strong relative to some of the other players.
I love the moment when he
being honest.
Remember that?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
miss lethal.
yeah.
Top deck swipe. And
Oh yeah,
so
yeah,
miss
yeah,
lethal.
yeah, yeah. That
He
was
actually like done a nervous tick after the play, but yeah, he missed it. But he won that game anyway, so doesn't really matter.
Mhm. Yeah, I think he was so far ahead, it was kind of inconsequential. But it's just funny that he didn't miss it. He told me like for 2 hours afterwards, he's like, God, I missed lethal. Like he already won the tournament. We were eating a seafood buffet, and he was like, God, Frodan, I missed lethal.
The flashback.
Yeah, that moment. You know, you can't be happy you won $10,000 or $4,000 out of 10,000.
I'm really happy
Just
that
gotta
Damas is
reflect.
actually like succeeding in the game. So
Yeah.
he was second at Dream. Well, he was fourth at the first DreamHack, then second on the second DreamHack. He won Millennium Cup, and now he won IEM Shenzhen, which clearly, like setting his RNG apart, this clearly proves that he is capable of getting there, and also it shows that Hearthstone is not a 100% RNG game, that you can actually get high.
Yeah, when you
You can
got
get
a
high.
100 accuracy with Ragnaros, it's not RNG at all.
RDU is also getting very high scores. Like he's
Yeah.
constantly proving that he's one of the top players, or
And
like
that's why they're 1 and
arguably
2.
one of the best players in the world.
Oh, definitely. I think so. I'm really. That's why now there's like a story. Whenever RDU and Amaz get far in tournaments, people are going to be paying attention to it, and the more they place top consistently, the better it is to just prove that people. You know, there is an element of skill. People kind of chalk it up too much to RNG, in my opinion, but I think there's going to be a lot more chaos now that Nax Ramus is out. To kind of wrap up this IEM thing, I think IEM was the last major tournament where you'll see a lot of the stability that you've seen for a while. I expect the upcoming weeks of tournaments, because in August it's going to be crazy. I see like 2 tournaments a week in August on my schedule. You're going to see all kinds of weird stuff. Yeah. You're going to see all kinds of weird stuff. People are practicing like crazy right now. I know the Cloud9 guys are. I know the Temple Storm guys are. I don't know if the Planet Key Dynamic guys are practicing, but I hope they are.
Yeah, we are. I just didn't have time today and yesterday because of my day job. But yeah, we'll practice like crazy too.
Well, I hope so, Lothar. I hope so, Lothar. I think these guys will come up with cool secret decks, and they're going to show off and impress people a lot. So now it's time to show another element of skill, which is deck building and understanding the metagame and Hearthstone preparations.
Also,
do you guys have any
games.
final? Oh yeah, and the mind games. Do you guys have any last comments on IEM or any tournament that was going on before we go to the Q&A section?
I have, so maybe Lothar can start.
I didn't come up with anything. So Gnimsh, proceed.
Okay, so basically, I'm really happy how IEM Shenzhen turned out, and this was the first tournament for IEM this year. This will be the series, hopefully leading to the finals in February. Like we had IEM Katowice, maybe it will be the same IEM Katowice again with a bigger Hearthstone tournament. Like IEM didn't announce that the winner is actually qualified for the winners series or like the final, but I certainly hope that it will be this way. Like we'll have a Hearthstone tournament every IEM and then leading to the finals. So I'm pretty excited for that. And for the other tournaments, we will be playing the qualifier. Like there's an 8 invited people, 3 Cloud9 people invited, me, Ecop, and Colento. We playing on Friday, 6 p.m. this Friday. First time with the Nextramas cards, best of 5 double elimination. 2 people who actually get to the final are being invited to the September's WEC tournament in China for $72,000 prize pool. So this is pretty big. And next week there is an NA qualifier. Arena is playing, Strive Chris playing, and a lot of other top players, like also a top 8 best of 5 double elimination will be streamed.
Yeah, I'll be casting that
awesome.
actually with Artosis.
Oh,
great.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
Yeah. So come watch some fun Invite Stone action this weekend with WEC. It's gonna be a good time, Gnimsh. I'm hoping you do. I hope you do well. Hope you do well.
Oh man, I have to get to the final. I saved my luck.
Get that money.
I was saving
Yeah,
my
that's
luck for
right.
DreamHack.
You didn't use any of IEM. Gnimsh got quite unlucky. I mean, a few times you had really good hands, and then all of a sudden, that's like your initial hand was the only good draw you got, and then after that, it was pretty bad. Okay, cool. So let's go to some of the Q&A. You guys can submit questions either on the Reddit link or in Twitch chat. We'll be looking through and browsing. I'm going to head over to the thread and just see if there's any questions for me, Gnimsh, or Lothar. It can be anything, whether serious or fun. So let's start with some of the stuff in the thread while the things in chat build up. Gnimsh and Lothar, keep an eye for any questions you guys want to ask or answer.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Sticky94 asks, question, the Naxxramas adventure was focused on death rattles. What mechanic do you want to see further developed in the next adventures?
Well, actually, I want to see something new, like a new keyword. So that would be really cool. I don't know if I can come up with anything right now, but a new keyword would be really good.
Okay.
I want a couple of keywords. I want trample, which is
yes,
when a minion attacks and it has 7 attack and there is a taunt in the way, and taunt has only 2 health. Like when I attack with my like ogre on something big into your Goldshire footman, I don't want the footman to stop it completely. I want my ogre to actually like trample the footman and deal damage to hero.
The difference between the attack and the health gets subtracted from the life points.
Exactly.
So that's a Yu-Gi-Oh terminology because they always explain it that way. Sorry, I apologize.
That's good.
I really hope that Hearthstone developers will come up with something really new in comparison to other CCGs, but that will really be hard. That will really be hard because, well, actually you have like almost everything covered in every other CCG.
I don't agree. I think like it actually will be not that hard because the CCGs are offline. So the only thing that they can develop something online based, like something that's only possible in the online game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, like copying cards already is showing a lot of versatility, like Thought Steal, for example. That's really hard to pull off in an offline card game. And maybe you can take that element too, but even Magic has elements of that too, I think, like copying cards. I like to personally see an introduction of scrying, which is a Magic mechanic that allows you to look at cards on your deck and reorder them how you want. I think that's really cool, and it promotes a lot of, like, it helps improve strategies overall, and it shows long-term decision makings of how turns kind of pan out. But then again, maybe that would get the game kind of too figured out at the same time. But I'd like to see a little bit more information being revealed.
This will be very powerful. Like an example, Mad Scientist, in my opinion, is very powerful, and it will be like more powerful over time. Mm-hmm. So cards like Scryer would be really maybe not overpowered but are really high on the list. And you can see like cards like Tracking. It's so good, and it does nothing apart from the cycling. And if you would got a creature that actually does almost the same thing, because you play a board control thing, like a creature that is 2/4 or something like that, and you got to rearrange 2 or 3 cards. That's really crazy value.
What about like shuffling opponent's deck? Like if there was scrying and the equivalent of it, like for example, if you play this minion when you play this minion, put a minion on top on the bottom of your deck or on the top of your deck or something equivalent to that, right? A lot of card games have that where you cycle by playing cards from the top to the bottom of your deck and pushing it through. Imagine if you had like that shuffle options also in Hearthstone to kind of disrupt your opponent. I don't know. These are these weird things that might not matter, but as you introduce more elements of mechanics, maybe there's cool ways to do that too, to kind of mess with them. Like, you know, maybe shuffling, maybe instead of discarding your cards and drawing cards, maybe you just shuffle your cards back in and draw 2 more or something. I don't know.
Well, there is a lot of stuff that they can come up with, like a milling card, for example. At the start of your turn, if this card survives, just discard half of your opponent's deck. So they have...
Okay, let's not do that. That's a little crazy.
That was actually a thing in WoTCG, and
that's actually a card that existed.
Yeah, I think it didn't ever see a see play in
Oh,
competitive gaming.
on arenas it was pretty sick because it
Oh,
was
oh
hard.
yeah, in Silt tournaments that was really sick, right?
But there is a lot they can come up with. So, yeah. Next question, please.
Next question. Doozerman asks, Lothar, how do you get the muscles and how do they improve your Hearthstone plays?
Yeah, those are two things apart, but I think that keeping your body in a good shape helps you concentrate and makes you happier in overall because of the endorphins in your body. So you can actually perform better in other tasks. So maybe that's affecting me. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is.
All right, cool. I think so. I think if you were to tap into the secrets of Lothar, you should ask him privately, maybe on his stream or on Twitter. Maybe you have to sub and he'll give you a workout plan. I don't know.
Actually, I'm like helping 5
Nice of time.
people already about the training and nutrition and stuff.
Nice. Good for you, man.
So
Good
I
for
don't
you.
do it in public because I think I will be like most hated guy in the Hearthstone scene in overall because I have the feeling like I'm already hated on being like super narcissistic and stuff, and this would be just pushing it over the edge, I think. So I'm just doing that.
Cool.
A quick question to you,
stream and
Lothar.
stuff. Yeah.
Are you after the release of the Plague Wing? Are you planning to change your nickname from Lothar to Lothabar?
Oh, can you actually change your nickname in game? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
you can.
Really?
Those gives you a one-time change. But then every so often they give you another name change. They say it's one time, but they often give you multiple times just over time. But you can't stack them. You only have one maximum.
I love how you actually seriously consider this.
Well, the thing is, my nickname was created when I was like 16 on something like that. So it wouldn't make sense to change it now when I made an appearance with my nickname. So yeah, but it will be funny though.
Tomakos what's up?
Yeah, Frodan, please go.
I was gonna just move on to the next question because
Okay.
we're spending too long about name changes.
I have a good question as well.
Okay, you can go yours.
So the question from Wushtsame: will Miracle Rogue survive the next Wings?
I think Miracle Rogue will have to make it will get another appearance. I think it has to be a mix of more minion oriented decks. So you won't be seeing a miracle deck like nowadays, but it will have more minions, and maybe it will throw out preps or I don't know any other colors like get Gazetten to be more card oriented with battle cries, but this will like make him more of man. I just saw the hands on the screen.
Awesome.
Makes sense.
Nice guns, bro.
Suns out, guns out. But the thing is, Miracle Rogue will have hard time in current environment, so we'll have to see how it develops. But I think there will be still place for Rogue in some form. Either it's aggressive or mid-range or control. I don't know. I was playing Rogue control back in beta game, and it was really fun. We'll have to see.
Yeah, Frodan. I think Miracle will cycle back in. It's just like Freeze Mage. People are gonna see the initial reaction like Lothar and Web Lord, and they're gonna just say, yeah, Miracle is not playable. Oh, nice. My arms are small. He's shrinking. Yeah.
Okay, so for the people who are actually more accurate. Listening only,
is way more jacked.
We have some people who are actually only listening without the video, so we are having
people who listen to the podcast. Our production guy is trolling us by overlaying a set of muscles over us to kind of demonstrate how buff Lothar is, and it's kind of sad you can't. So you can check it on the pod. To kind of finish my thought, I think people are going to have a knee-jerk reaction to the nerfs on Miracle. I think people are going to find a way to adapt are going to say Miracle never left, and then people are going to complain about the same thing. But the reality is that Blizzards give more counterplay options. A lot of times, if you don't have the Flame Strikes or the Shadow Flames to deal, or the Brawl to potentially deal with Gadget Sand, then you just don't have anything. You just kind of sit there and wait. Maybe put up a taunt at best or heal up. But now there's actually options for you to counterplay it, whether playing Lothar or playing Weblord or playing other stuff to kind of counteract the Miracle deck. Blizzard's introducing more of these elements, which is cool. So there's going to be more options at disposal. It's going to be harder for Miracle, but it's going to come back. It's not gone by any means, in my opinion.
It will come back at some point, but for now, after the release, I think Lothar will be auto-include in every deck, and people will also try to abuse it with like the Brewmaster. So like you play Lothar and then you try to return it to your hand, like even Shadow Step, just to lock the abilities.
That's my that's the same statement I wanted to make. And the thing is, Miracle Rogue was like always there, and it just made an appearance like a month ago, right, or 2 months ago. And this will happen a lot with a lot of decks that will just make a appearance, then it will be taken down by the metagame, and then after some time it will float back to the game.
Yeah.
From the depths.
Next question.
Next question. I have to scroll up to the chat because I want to take a few questions. I think a lot of people are asking this, so a mixture of a bunch of usernames, Takashi, Takobos. They're asking about what our opinion is on the cycle of releases. They said Naxxramas took a while to release. What do you feel like is a good time frame of releases for Hearthstone? Gnimsh?
That's a very interesting question. So the game was released at what, April? And now we have 3 months later, we have adventure mode. Normal cycle for the card game is around 3 to 4 months for the new set. And the new set introduces a lot of new cards, like around 200, 300 new cards. So for Hearthstone, I think it's fine if we go over that a bit, but not longer than 6 months. I'd say like 4 or 5 months would be ideal. And
with what kind of set? With 200 cards or what?
Yeah, like 200 new cards every 4 months.
Wow.
4 or 5 months, yeah.
That is really idealistic.
Well, maybe not like maybe not 200, like, but let's say we got adventure mode now after 3 months. Then in 4 months, I'd love to see the set with 200 new cards.
It's been in development since December or November. That's when they like first had the real look. Like, for perspective, I once heard a former Blizzard employee told me that they were working on Hearthstone back in 2008.
Yeah.
Or 2007.
Wow,
and then is that you who told me that?
No, I think like actually I heard about it in an interview with Ben Brode.
Yeah, and then some guy was like talking. He's like, he was talking to some other Blizzard people. He was like, oh, you guys are still working on Hearthstone in like 2012. It was like 4 years later. That's when they had it. So Blizzard takes their time. They know, everyone knows it by now. Soon TM, but more specifically, I don't think they can come up with 200 cards every 3-4 months. And I think if they do, they're going to come up with low quality cards.
Yeah, but the thing is that they were working on Hearthstone, but they were working on the interface and everything, like ideas. Right now, the interface is done. What they have to do, well, obviously they can introduce some changes and some upgrades, but they will work on Hearthstone like on every other card game. They have to work on the card mechanics and the theme of the set and get the art, like reuse the art that was used, commission the new art, and then QA it. So if they want
animations, voice acting,
exactly, yeah. I mean, okay, that's not something mechanics on top that the normal cards don't have, but other than that, they will have development cycles as the normal card games. And how it works is that you work on a set, and then you immediately start working on another one, and then you start working on another one, and when you work on the third one, the first one is hitting live. So basically, you're always like 2 sets ahead than what's actually live, and it works true. It works like that in the normal card games. So they will need to pick up speed at some point. Like if they work on a set and then release it, and then start working on another one and release it, it will be too long of a time for the release. But when we were talking to Ben Brode on Value Zone some time ago, he mentioned that, hey, we actually started working on Extramas a long time ago as well. So they know how the cycles work. They have a lot of employees from Wizards of the Coast as well. So they know their stuff. They know how to work on a card game. And they continue to prove that they actually know how to get a card game, because Hearthstone is a great game as a card game as well. So I'm really excited for these sets.
You know what's more interesting? That actually Hearthstone is the first card game that has a new distribution, like new distribution ways. So actually, I would be more happy to see like few smaller sets than one big set, because as we can see right now, even with with only how many cards we have right now?
30.
400. No, I mean
like total,
basic set, like 400 cards, and actually we have like 14, 15 very playable tier 1 and 2 decks that are competitively being played in the tournaments. And that never happened in any other CCG I was playing with a basic set. And there was even more cards than in Hearthstone. So I just think that the metagame in Hearthstone is rotating so fast because of the online tournaments and of the amount of players that are playing in Hearthstone, that less amount of cards is actually better right now for the game, because players are like getting to know the way of how metagame works, how they can use the cards that they didn't use before and adapt the playstyle of current top decks. And with introduction of like 30 new cards, like in Naxxrama's case, every, I don't know, 3 months would be okay in my opinion.
Okay, cool. I like that. I like the card. What I like about Naxxramas is that I think the cards are very specifically designed, and they're high quality. There's not a lot of vanilla generic minions that are like they're completely useless. Like a 1/2 for 1 mana that's just kind of a zombie. It's like it's just kind of lazy. I think they really thought about some of these cool card designs. I like that more, just more interaction with stuff. But of course, there's going to be more lines of stuff. For example, dragons. Everyone knows dragons are eventually going to get their own expansion, right? And
yeah, that's true. And sheeps.
So,
Pandaria.
Right? There's going to be more and more as time goes on. So give it time, let people develop, and I think it's cool. Even if Blizzard completely changes some base, right? Like for example, they make Brewmasters a panda or something along those lines of stuff, as well as other classes, maybe Death Knights, monks, whatever WoW releases in the future. There's a lot of room to grow in Hearthstone. So let's take your time and not get too crazy. 200 every 4 months. Gnimsh, Jesus, that's crazy. You're insane. Let's see. Do you guys see any other questions you want to take at the moment? I kind of have to scroll up on the chat.
Yeah, my chat already being like.
I've seen a question to Frodan SC is asking Gnimsh, but how should Blizzard monetize the sets? The new players shouldn't be stuck with basic set with 200 cards per 4 months. I agree that actually we have to take into consideration that Hearthstone is not a standard card game with regards to monetization, and where in a standard card game, buying cards is standard. I mean, like, people are not afraid of just throwing money for the cards. Where in Hearthstone, the like free-to-play model is more important because it's a video game. So that's something that's an interesting point to make, because then maybe the model that Naxxramas is actually like providing here, with the first wing being for free, and then other 4 being actually pretty cheap for what you get. The content and the cards that you get is pretty good, but well, if we have the content like that every 4 months and we can pay like 14 euros every 4 months, I don't feel like it's a lot.
I think it'd be cool. Oh, what's up, Gnimsh?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually thinking about it. Like, when we get a new set, Blizzard wants to monetize, obviously. So when you get a new set with like 200 cards, you will probably get booster packs, like new packs for the new set. So
Mhm.
it doesn't make sense to mix the cards, the new cards, with the old cards, because you probably want to when a new set hits, you want to open a new pack with the only new shiny cards. So I was thinking that a good thing to do would be, obviously you can buy those new packs for the gold again, because you have to farm gold. You can do hoard gold. So when the new set is announced, you'll start hoarding gold to get the packs. But on the other hand, I think maybe there should be like another version of Dust. Like we have standard
That's exactly what I wanted to say. That there
Arcane
will be new
Dust, yeah,
new
and like
recipes.
Pixie Dust, for example, or the Dragon Dust for the Dragon set, so that you can buy those new packs, and from those new packs you can get new kind of cards that you can disenchant to get the Dragon Dust, and then whatever. So I feel like it will be a good version, good way for Blizzard to monetize the new set as well, and for the free to play model to continue without major changes.
I like for them to also create more competitive environments and make people kind of wager in a way. Similar to how Magic the Gathering Online does it with drafts and packs and stuff.
Oh,
I
the
think
like
it'd be
tournament
cool.
systems.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool if there's a tournament system where you bet your own 100 gold and you take, like, Blizzard obviously takes away a percentage of it within the economy, but rewards based off buy-in. So that way you can like earn more gold. But the whole point of it's competitive, not that you're trying to earn a lot of gold. And then people can enter simply by paying like a couple dollars here, right? Something like that. Something really fun like that. I think it'd be kind of cool. Let's take a couple more before we wrap up the show. Real quick, Black Ben has been asking a lot in chat, saying, "Can you tell us the exact Twitch streams and times of upcoming tournaments?" You can easily do that. Go to HearthstoneCalendar.com or go to the subreddit reddit.com/r/Hearthstone. That shows you all the upcoming events. You won't miss it. Let's see. Gnimsh and Lothar, what's your opinions on invite-only tournament qualifiers such as WC? Do you think tournaments of that caliber should be open to other top players in the region? This is asked by Verum32. Gnimsh, you've talked about it a lot, but Lothar, we have never heard your opinions on this.
About invitational tournaments. I think it's like necessary for the game, which is a new game like Hearthstone, because Blizzard and tournament organizers want to make stories about the players, and that we can actually build a fan base around some players, and this will create more exciting tournaments at start. But I think as Hearthstone develops into in time, there will be more tournaments that will be only Swiss based, as in CCGs. So this will be more fair to the new players that didn't have the attention given like some pros from the beginning of the game, and it will be still fair to the pro players, as they will have to prove themselves worthy of being the pros in the Swiss tournaments. But this will only happen when tournament organizers will make proper Swiss tournaments.
Yes, that. Well, there's always next stream hack, right?
Yeah, we hope so. And I am.
Oh, so we hope so. Cool. You've already heard me and Gnimsh's opinions on invite tournaments. It kind of echoes the sentiments. But more importantly, the thing to kind of emphasize is that repeatedly, time and time again, invites have outperformed the open qualified people. And it's not to say that open qualified people shouldn't get a chance. It's to show that there is legitimacy to it, because some people are saying that storylines are manufactured and everything. Not true. And I think Gnimsh kind of copies that. I don't think we want to spend too much time talking about it again, though.
Agreed.
Okay, let's see. Blackout asks, Frodan, how's the Temple Storm website going? Are all the stats showing that the premium-based system is working, or are you guys going to take a new approach to it? I know that Reynad said he's working on an upgrade and said a lot. The website is going pretty decently. The thing about the website is that we want to do a lot more with it. Unfortunately, we haven't found a web developer that can actually do what we want relative to the time frame. And so we're talking to a lot of people. We're trying to upgrade a lot to what the site can do, more than what it is at the moment. And at the same time, we're also looking for people who just kind of want to work on it. People are saying they want to work on it part-time and stuff, but we're looking for people who can seriously commit to it and want to work with the Tempo Storm team. So if you're interested, you can always send me an email, dan@tempostorm.com or rain@tempostorm.com, and he'll forward you to me either way. So if you're a web developer that's looking for a project to pick up semi-full-time, like not all the time, but if you're really serious about it, go ahead and email me. That was a question that Blackout asked. If there's any other questions you guys want to cover?
We have a serious question in chat. Lothar, how many people like Gnimsh could you take in a fight?
You all guys know that Gnimsh has like
2 meters almost.
Yeah, like 20 centimeters advantage over me. And I mean in height, of course. So I don't know really. I'm not the like fighting type anymore. But let me say just free.
Wow. You can't just say that and not tell stories, but maybe story time another time. Lothar.
Are you a brawler?
Well, I actually worked as a pro. I don't know.
Security guy?
Yeah.
Pro wrestler?
No.
Oh, you're a security guard. Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
And
You were
I
a
was
bouncer?
Yeah, exactly. That was the word. I was looking for a bouncer and actually work as a debt collector. So, yeah.
You were a loan shark? Oh my
No,
god.
not
Loan
loan
shark.
shark. Debt collector. That's too.
Well, you worked with the loan
separate
sharks.
things.
Poland is
Well,
hardcore,
alright.
man. Poland is hardcore. Okay. Wow.
It's tough, man.
Some
You
people,
have to go
someone
back.
asked you, Gnimsh, a question of when are you going to stream?
That's a very good question.
The joke that used to the joke answer used to be Gnimsh would stream when Nax Ramus comes out, but Nax is actually here, so Gnimsh hasn't actually streamed.
I really wanted to stream, but I was watching a Maz, so it kind of interfered with my streaming. Yeah, I will be starting as soon as possible, maybe even tomorrow.
Soon
at
TM.
the same time.
Okay.
Soon TM. Definitely this weekend. This weekend I'm streaming like for sure.
Okay, I'll definitely be watching. I'll be
Great.
watching. Cool. All right, so I think that about wraps it up for the Q&A. We have a final shout-outs and thank you section, which we want to talk about some stuff. The first thing we want to discuss is that iHeartU is still looking to fill out an intern position. You can use the contact form on the website to apply. And if you're looking just to get involved more in Hearthstone, iHeartU is looking for people like you to volunteer and figure out what you can do. And who knows if that leads into other things in the future. iHeart's offering some coaching. Gnimsh is coaching there, as well as players like StrifeCrow, KidCats, and a flurry of other people. So go ahead and check it out, iHeartU.com, and you just click on the coach section. I don't know if they're going to be doing, like, who's doing the King of the Hill this week versus Tice. Gnimsh, do you know?
Wait, is Ty still alive? Oh my god.
Yeah, he has like 11 win streak or 10. It's pretty
I think
crazy.
he's at 9. I think he's at 9
Ty.
or 8.
Sweet.
Looks like there's
Oh,
no
Simon
King of the
says-
Hill this week, but apparently we were just told that Savitz will be back at the iHeartU King of the Hill, and he's going to be playing next week, which is very exciting because Savitz has kind of taken a brief hiatus in Hearthstone, at least from the public eye. He's still been playing and stuff, but in terms of the competition, people haven't seen him since DreamHack summer. So we're going to see him at WC. We're going to see him at iHeartU King of the Hill. Can you take down Tice? We'll find out next week.
And this
we
is
wanna
super
give a-
interesting because Tice is the person that really investigates his opponents. Like every time there is a match that Tice will be playing, he's like getting all the spies on the guy, all the decks the guy played, and he's having a full research profile. So Savitz actually anticipated that, so he disappeared, and now Tice won't be able to have any information on him. So Savitz is coming back like a storm. And
Yeah,
we'll see.
I think
That's so
it's
smart.
going to be cool to see if he can claim back his throne.
Thinking out of the box here.
Yeah, if you charge $100 an hour for coaching, wow, I feel so lucky. I get to spend so much time with you learning. I guess such an
Just
expensive
wait for the
service.
bill. I will have to
Oh
charge you.
no, oh no. Have I told you that I'm still jobless technically?
Oh
It's
man,
a charity.
so
You can
sad.
do this pro bono.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, my coaching, I have a lot of experience because I was studying at the university as well, and I treat it very seriously. Like when I'm taking students, I'm just not coaching anything. Like I'm really getting into what student needs, and I apply a certain strategy to the aims as well. So when I coach people, I really like adjust my coaching strategy to their like age and the abilities and stuff. So like we have a short interview before, and then we spend a good hour. So
Wow.
that's why
I would not. I don't even know how to convince someone to give me like $20 for coaching, let alone 100.
you could just hang
But
out
good
with
on you,
them for them.
Good on you, man. I'll hang out with someone for $20 an hour. I don't mind.
Actually,
I'm a
guys,
friend for hire.
I wanted to bring up there will be a new tournament, and I
A
don't know if
coaching tournament?
No, I forgot about it. Look at this. It's NVIDIA Hearthstone Open.
Oh,
Cool. Is that fresh, hot off the presses?
Yeah, that's fresh.
All right. Well, we'll find out more information. Probably talk about that next time around because we're about to wrap up the show. But that's another cool tournament that's coming out, and yet again joins. Like August is going to be crazy. Everyone's going to be like, "Oh, there's so much Hearthstone tournaments," because everyone wants a piece of it. It's going to be very exciting. One of them, which you guys should pay attention to, which is WEC this Friday with EU top. There's going to be 16 players competing. It's going to be really fun across WEC. Check it out. Gnimsh, RDU, Savitz, Semi-Jew from MYM is going to be making an appearance. I chuckle because he was kind of from left field in the invites, which is kind of cool that other people are getting opportunities. For NA, you have the usuals, Amaz, Reynad, as well, and Shrifecrow, as well as a couple of cool people like Brad, who you saw last week, and some other cool people. Go check it out at 2p.com. I'm done with all kinds of shout-outs. Gnimsh, do you have anything you want to say before we do final comments and words?
no, I'm good for the shoutouts.
All right, go ahead and start us off then.
Okay, shoutouts to Cloud9 and shoutouts to our sponsors. I think I didn't even shout out our sponsors before. So big shoutouts for HyperX, Logitech, Air Force Reserve, Alienware, Low Class, Need for Seed, Homejoy, and Psychic. And that's it on my side.
Nice. There you go. Eventually, you're not going to have to read that. And you'll like rattle it off really easily.
It's easy to remember, really.
He trained it a lot.
Yeah. Nice. All right, Lothar, up to you, man.
Yeah, my shoutouts will be, as usual, I want to thank my team, Plant Kid Dynamics, and my teammates for making an awesome, really good team, and to my sponsor, TT Esports, which allows me to travel to the tournaments, and this is really helpful and awesome from their side.
Cool. For me, I would like to shout out to the ESO guys for putting on a great production. I had a lot of fun in China, and I want to also thank Gnimsh for casting along with me. And I think we did a great job, and I can't wait to do more. Shout out to the 2p.com people, which again this weekend will be casting WC. Don't miss that. And the following week I will be with Gnimsh in Taiwan, but we'll talk more about that in the upcoming days. Actually, wait, are we gonna have another turn 2 next week? Because are we gonna be in?
Dude, we
flying?
have to. There will
Okay,
be
we will have to.
bar released.
Yeah, we'll have to have another. We'll basically have to have another turn 2, despite us maybe traveling. So we'll figure that out. Shout out to my. I'm flying on the 30th, I believe, maybe. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm flying. It's a red-eye flight. I'm gonna be flying all day and arrive in the morning in Taiwan.
Sure.
I'll talk to you afterwards after the show's over.
Sure.
Also want to give a shout out to Temple Storm, the best team in Hearthstone. No offense to Cloud9 or any of those other great teams. And I want to give a big thank you to people who've been supporting the Temple Storm brand. And more stuff will be coming in the future that we're working hard for. You can check out everything out at templestorm.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Frodan. You can follow Gnimsh on Twitter at NimshTV, and Lothar on Twitter for all his sexy pictures at LotharHS. That wraps up Turn 2, episode number 28.
We need a duel, team v team, Temple Storm versus Cloud9 to decide who's the best team in the world.
Well, Gnimsh, we could talk about that. I think, yeah, actually it'd be really cool to do something like that eventually.
Oh.
You know, you aren't the first team to challenge Tempo Storm to something like that, because there's been other people that's been challenging us as well. The main thing is time. Like, how do we fit in all these tournaments and do a show match and
That's so true.
prepare for everything else while doing all the streaming? And the fact is, we want to put out content on our website. It's very difficult to balance everything at the moment, but maybe you can find a way to make it happen. Maybe we can find a way.
Actually, how long
Deal.
did this episode go? Because it's already midnight.
Yeah, it's almost been 2 hours. Someone's saying that Frodan should play in that show match. I don't know. If I play, I'd be playing your manager, which is Jack, right? So me versus Jack for one of the points on the team. I think we'd be taking those odds, maybe.
That would be awesome.
Not if I had to play like a legitimate Cloud9 player, though. Definitely not. Definitely not. All right, guys. Thank you so much to anybody who's watching. Next week we'll be here at the same time. Make sure to click the follow button on the Twitch channel. And for anybody who's listening on podcast, you can check it out live on twitch.tv/iHeartU site and check out everything, whether it's coaching, articles, podcast, news, guides, or the King of the Hill at iHeartU.com. This has been Turn 2 with Gnimsh, Frodan, and Lothar. We'll see you guys next time.
Just